bearded bastards, and welcome back once again to Ushangvagush, Monsterkiller. Now, it's currently the 28th of Limestone 263, and as you can see here, we're currently finishing up another siege. Yes, those goblins seem pretty upset with us, but it's not a big deal, especially this siege. We did send the warriors out to deal with a couple of the bastards, but for the most part, we've been using the Kruggsmash bridge to deal with them. Now if we have a look down here, you can see there are quite a few goblins mounted on beak dogs, waiting at one side of this bridge. I think they're still all a bit stunned at watching their comrades fall down to that pit below. And in fact, if we look down at the bottom of the crocodile pit, we can see that most of the goblins and beak dogs are down here, panicking and just kind of running around. We're currently pumping water in, so they should be drowned shortly. And until that happens, I guess we're just going to be kind of stuck in the fortress. And well, I guess if these guys aren't going to cross the bridge, then we're going to have to go out and deal with them. That's a bit annoying, but you gotta do what you gotta do, I suppose. And so warriors, gather up, everyone but the Griffins of Steel, and we'll move them right here. Come on, you dwarves. You can see this section of hallway here is currently blocked up, so we'll just wait for the warriors to get in place, then I'll open it up. That should be good enough, I'm thinking. And so we'll start pulling some levers. And the gates are down, the warriors are moving out, slaughtering a goblin and a beak dog real quick. Very good. And now they're heading out down the hallway to face the rest of the siege. This might be a tough battle, but we have enough dwarves here where I think they shouldn't have too much of a problem. I guess we'll see. The charge is being led by a human, a spearmaster, with some dwarves coming up behind. Let's go, warriors! Let's show them what we're made of. Yes, there we are. Come on, everyone, get in there. And the dwarves are forming up, pushing into the goblins. Many of the beak dogs are starting to panic, most likely due to the dwarven war cries. Ushangvagush! Ushangvagush! Not having much of a problem so far. Yes, the dwarves are making some quick work of these goblins, who have begun retreating down the hallway, but they did not get very far. That's for sure. Serves you right, you bastards. Well, what do you say, dwarves? Well, I think they had spotted one goblin that headed out down the tunnel, and other dwarves are heading for the surface. Yeah, just a quick cleanup here. Nothing to write home about. Yeah, you know, in fact, we're still under siege, but I'm gonna say the siege is over. There are currently no more enemies just running about. Yeah, it's just these guys down here. But again, they'll be dealt with in short order. In fact, the water has already begun trickling in. Very good. Oh man, but this is a huge problem right here. Well, maybe not in the grand scheme of things, but you can see we have a goblin lasher in our mines currently, which are typically blocked up. But I forgot about some access tunnels that we had to dig for that misting device that I mentioned last episode. So one of the damn invaders managed to crawl up here and is now attacking Geshud Athelorun, who's our fortress's chief mechanic. He's been around forever, and damn it, I'm gonna be pissed if he dies like this, I'll tell you that much. I currently have the warriors coming up here, but it's not looking good. Moving north, taking some hits, and oh boy, he died. Damn it all, that really sucks. He was a tough dwarf and he really hung in there, but just couldn't cut it, I guess. It's okay, buddy. You'll be avenged. There we go. Easy enough. Chop the bastard's head right off. Exactly what you deserve. Ugh, anyways. Just sucks, I'll tell ya. And well, now that I guess the siege is over, let's turn off the burrow and get back to work, huh? Let's go, dwarves. And you know what else? I think I'm gonna let a little time pass. We do have some projects we're currently working on in the fortress. Nothing too thrilling, and I'll get back to you in just a little bit when they're nearing completion. Just a moment. And so the dwarves of Ushangvagush worked through the autumn, and into the winter. Although, those living in the Born Dunes rarely count the days passing by the change in season. Every day is hot, dry, dusty. Nothing much changes here. In the way of weather, anyways. When it comes to features in the landscape, well, that's a different story. Yes, if you have a look here, you can see a brand new structure. My, isn't this glorious? Let's zoom in a bit. Now how's that? Looking good, right? 4 new strong walls, each with an entrance, leading to a currently unfinished road. That's those flashing paths there. And inside the walls there's actually a core of wood, intended to both fill up the wall, without wasting stone, and also meant as an insult to the elves. That should get the job done, right? Now the walls are currently only this 1 level tall, but I would like to continue them upwards, which I think we're going to do. Now these aren't exactly meant to be defensive walls. We're going to have these large entrances in here after all. It's more meant for show. We're more than capable of defending ourselves beneath the earth, as we've proven time and again. Now we do still have to get those temples built up here, something we badly have to do. because you can even see on here on the surface there are at least a few upset dwarves. And down below, here in the dune hall especially, there are actually a lot of very angry dwarves. There are depressed dwarves, dwarves throwing tantrums left and right. I don't know what's gotten into everyone. It just doesn't make any sense to me. We have dwarves down here making the finest of clothing. Shoes of leather, pants of yarn, shirts of silk. And down in the kitchens, we have dwarves busy at work preparing the finest of drinks, as well as lavish meals, made with the very best ingredients available. We have a Forgotten Beast viewing chamber. I mean, come on, dwarves! And you know, on top of all that, we just finished up our misting device. Look at this, will you? There's currently water pouring down from the ceiling, creating a nice refreshing mist. It's a little bit more watery than I would have liked, but it still should be getting the job done. I would think anyways. Come on, dwarves. Pull it together, this is our home. We have to try our best. We're safe, we should be happy. It just doesn't make any sense. Oh, hoo. Well, here's something to get you in a good mood. A Forgotten Beast. Just like the good old days. The Forgotten Beast, Ep.22, has come. A towering, skinless monitor. It has an enormous shell and it undulates rhythmically. Beware its poisonous vapors. Poisonous vapors. That could be a very nasty one. I hope you dwarves are pumped up. A little danger, a little excitement, maybe that's what you need. Yeah, right? This should do the trick. Now then, it looks like this big guy is up on the first cavern layer, down towards the southwest. Let's watch him move in. Here he goes, the game is unpaused. Moving up towards the fortress. Just kind of wandering around now, seemingly. Not in a huge rush to get there. Well, that's alright. It'll get there eventually, I'm sure. Well, in the meantime, it looks like our crocodile pit is filling up with water. In fact, it's completely full, but it looks like a troll must have ripped the grating off the outlet on the side. That's where the water rushes out. And now all those invaders are trying to get out through that tunnel. It's kind of an interesting thing. I don't really know what they're trying to accomplish, honestly, because if they go out here, then, well, they kind of just fall down to this level. You can see where all this blood is. And they don't really have anywhere to go from here, and so they're just getting washed down from that water, down here, to the bottom of this very, very deep pool. Isn't that foolish? Well, come on, you idiots. Your death awaits. Now, taking a look back up here at this Forgotten Beast, it appears to have found some pond grabbers, making short work of them. Not too surprising. It's killed one already and is on its way to kill the second. There we go. Yeah, we saw some of those poison gases right there. Now, let's remember that poison gases are nothing to joke around about. We have not yet had too many problems with gassy Forgotten Beasts, but that is one of the types I'm most afraid of. You can never tell. We'll have to be careful. Well, you know, I would dearly love to go out on another raid, but considering the fact that the elves or the goblins might return at any time, and the fact that we still have that giant lizard wandering around in the caverns, yeah, maybe we should hold off just a little bit. Oh boy, not 100% sure what happened over here. It looks like one of the weavers went insane and berserk and started attacking the other dwarves. They had to be put down. This is not great. Dwarves, we're trying so hard. I really hope this doesn't continue. There's only so much we could do, really. Life here is stressful, I get it, but we're going to get through this. I know we are. Man, we have dwarves walking around just oblivious to the world because of their stress. Dwarves who are too depressed to drink. We have children throwing tantrums, and even our warriors are throwing tantrums. This is pretty bad news. A whole bunch of crimes here, all disorderly conduct. We're gonna have a full prison shortly. Well, a full prison's better than a full tomb. Yep. Getting pretty concerned. Oh my goodness. It looks like that Forgotten Beast is chasing one of the trap makers through our maintenance tunnels. That's very bad. Unpaused, it lost sight of the dwarf, thankfully. Okay, paused. Now, as luck would have it, we had a sandblade just enter this tunnel. This over here is Tun, a long-time sandblade who has more than 70 kills to his name. I guess we're gonna send this guy in, and hopefully he can take down this beast. It's gonna be dangerous, but I guess we don't have much of a choice. Alright, Tun, you ready? All of that so-called knowledge doesn't mean a thing. There's a dwarf. Following Tun, who's charging right in. Ooh, fighting the beast. I'm seeing some blood. Oh man, that trapmaker died. They are still fighting. The beast is enraged. It's just Tun and this beast right now. There is gas all over the place. There is no way Tun is avoiding it. The creature is still enraged, but unconscious and dead. Oh. And unfortunately, it looks like Tun died as well. Damn it. Man, that was one hell of a battle right there. The beast was hardly able to do anything to Tun, and I think it was the vapor that eventually killed Tun. Yeah, it had to have been. I don't think that beast landed a single hit. Ugh, that really stinks. Oh well. Rest well, hero. And Trapmaker. Come on, what is going on with this fortress? We have dwarves falling left and right. Man, we're currently at 200 dwarves. We're down 7 since last month. Damn it, what the hell? And so the dwarves of Ushangvagush continued their toil. Into the fall, through the winter, and even into the following summer. Unhappy dwarves were becoming a far too common sight. And so they tried their very best to improve their home as much as they could. They had to make the desert fortress worth living in. But with every step forward, they were taken 2 steps back. Forgotten beasts killed their heroes, and the goblins were a constant threat. But the dwarves would fight, and they would never stop fighting. This was their home. If this was to be a dwarven world, it was their only option. And yet, it was something they hated. To fight meant death. For the goblins, and for the dwarves. And in truth, battle was something the dwarves loved. Something they took great joy in. Epic battle is what heroes were made of. Combat meant stories, heroes, legends, excitement. It meant a life worth living. But it would also always bring death. Something that the dwarves, for all their bravery, feared. And it was this very fear of impending doom that weighed on the mind of every citizen of Ushangvagush. And yet, heavy as their hearts might be, the only choice given to those brave, bearded bastards was to continue their toil. Through labor comes sustenance, both of belly and mind. And this was something they had to believe in, for really, there was no other choice. Ushangvagush was their home, and soon, it would be a place of legends. One would only have to glance at the stone walls rising from the red sands to know that this was a fact. Keep working, dwarves. This is our home. Yes, some time has passed here in Ushangvagush, and as I've said, we've been busy at work here in the fortress, trying our damnedest to improve the quality of life as much as possible, something that is very difficult to do. With so many upset dwarves, fistfights are abundant, as well as dwarves running around pushing over furniture, goblin sieges, forgotten beasts. Very difficult. And not that we're too concerned, but we did stir up the elves last year, and so now we're anticipating retaliation. What form that'll take though, well, I'm not too sure. Yeah, rough going. You know what is funny when you look up on the surface and see our enormous walls, which are now 1, 2, 3, almost 4 levels high, to know that, well, this is the weakest our fortress has been in my opinion. So many dwarves are upset. I know I keep talking about it, but this is very worrisome. This is a threat unlike any we've ever faced. We still have a strong military, and these beautiful new walls out here, but on the inside, we're crumbling away. Things are very shaky, and I'm hoping this doesn't become our downfall. Back on the subject of our enemies, I know we stirred up those elves last episode, and we should probably continue attacking them, if for no other reason than to keep them from attacking us. But those goblins really irked me with that last attack, and we haven't raided them in a while. So I'm thinking we do it. Maybe just to relieve some stress. Nolral knows those bastards deserve it. And so let's have a look here, over to the east, where we see Maze Monstrous, that goblin fortress we had attacked a while ago, now with a population of about 400 goblins. This looks like a fine target. Yes? Let's do it. We will raid this site and attempt to raise the place. And we're going to send everyone but the Sandblades. It's time to take this place down. Give them hell, warriors. Remember what they did here, to our home. Carry that hatred in your hearts when you enter Maze Monstrous, and you will not fail. I guess while the warriors are away, we'll continue to try to improve our home. The walls are still climbing upwards, and I'm not looking to stop that anytime soon, if for no other reason than to intimidate our enemies. Down here we can see the misting device, which really isn't turning out as well as I would have liked. Now there's just mud all over the ground, brought in from the caverns above, and something I hadn't thought of is that when merchant caravans arrive, it's difficult for them to get through this falling water, and they just kind of end up stopping in this hallway. Something else to figure out, I suppose. What a pain. And so in an effort to improve the quality of life a little farther, I'm thinking we should get to work on those temples out here, and I guess we'll just build them inside these walls, although that still doesn't feel all too safe. Well, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do, right? And maybe we'll start thinking about some other stuff we can build out here too. Might be for the best. Can we catch a break? It looks like one of the human mercenaries that we have in the fortress has gone berserk due to their stress, and that is terrible news. Normally there are soldiers all over the place that can deal with something like this, but at the moment we don't have much of anything, and they're standing in the dune hall. Well, we'll send the sandblades out, but I'm not sure if anybody's nearby. Let's see how this plays out, I guess. The game is unpaused, and the warrior is moving into the dune hall, fighting. I'm seeing a lot of blood. Somebody's getting hit. One of our dwarves. There's an elf moving in. Somebody just ran off bleeding. But it looks like the mercenary is dead, thankfully. Well, having a look at the combat log here, it would seem that that fight was quite the affair. Most of the fighting was between that swordsman and a log tosser who was hacking them with an axe, while Dusum the Beastmaster was holding them at bay. And interestingly, there was an elf poet there as well, one of the fabulous dots. Pretty cool. Glad to see some of our inhabitants still have their composure. That could have been very ugly. Ugh, now would you look at this? Blood splattered all over the place, teeth littering the ground, and damn it, that log tosser died. Just keep going, dwarves. Just keep going. Well, we do have some good news here, thankfully. The brass spikes and others have returned. Let's have a look. Mission report. Raise Maze Monstrous. Summer 264. They head out to the east, to the previously damaged goblin fortress, Maze Monstrous, and as soon as they enter the fort, the slaying begins. And actually, it seemed like a fairly quick raid this time, but it looks like we killed a few of those bastards, and we looted the place as well. Very cool. Okay, a whole bunch of stuff here. A lot of armor, and a bunch of other miscellaneous garbage. Better than nothing, I guess. And having a look at the map again, well, it says there's about 75 goblins left here. Wow, that's a lot less than I expected. Very cool. Well, I'll tell you what, warriors. You guys get yourselves situated, and then we're heading right back out. We have Maze Monstrous on the ropes. We can't stop now. I'm really hoping the destruction of a goblin fortress will raise morale around here. It's just what we need. Speaking of which, you can see over here we're carving out some new chambers. This here is a bedroom for Moses Astral, the Baroness of our fortress. She has been in a sour mood lately, and we have to alleviate that. She's one of the leading minds around here. We have to help her out as much as we can, for the sake of all the dwarves of Ushangvagush. And actually, up over here, we're carving out some new offices for Zan, our overseer, as well as our bookkeeper. It's about damn time, right? And then down here, connected to the barracks, we have a couple of new bedrooms going in, both for Einod Blueaxe, as well as Asin, our master tactician. Zan knows they deserve it. Alright, looks like all the warriors are settled in, and so, let's head back out. One final time to Maze Monstrous. And we're going to raise... In fact, it looks like we have the option to conquer and occupy Maze Monstrous. But it does say, warning, if successful, our soldiers will join the occupation and will not return to our fortress. But our new holdings will be manageable from this screen. Maybe we should have a stab at that. That sounds pretty damn cool. But maybe we'll mess around with our squads first. Well, let's have a look here. We have 7 squads currently. And if we're gonna send one of them off, well, how about the Griffins of Steel? I know old Ingiz has a good head on his shoulders, and so I'm fairly confident he'd do a good job leading the dwarves who are stationed there. And how about I send off one of our recruit squads as well, just kind of as a bit of additional muscle. How about the Granite Hoods? They're incredibly well trained now, and I think I can also recall them after they've conquered the place. I'm pretty sure. Not 100%, but I guess we'll figure out soon enough. And so anyways, we will seize Maze Monstrous, using the Griffins of Steel and the Granite Hoods. Very good. On your way, dwarves, and good luck. If successful, this will be a big step for us. We'll not only be destroying the goblins, but we'll also be strengthening our own holdings. Very exciting. And while the warriors are away, I suppose we'll continue striving to clean this place up. We still have a bunch of garbage up top here on the surface, clothing and other effects from that last siege. Pretty annoying. What the hell is this? An ambush. Curse all friends of nature. Up here on the surface, one of the dwarves has spotted a pair of one-hump camels, and they seem a bit out of the ordinary, and in fact it would seem like they're allied with the elves. They must have some distinct features about them, because we have one-humped camels around here all the time. Well, it looks like retaliation from the elves is on the way, and we'll have to keep our eyes open too, because who knows what else they have lurking about the area. Well, I'll tell you what, for now we're going to take our squads, Sandblades, Brass Spikes, Lovers, Wasps, Kings, and I'm going to have them kill these 2 camels, just like that. And in fact, the dwarf who spotted them is a lover, so they're going to rush right in and try to attack them. Unpaused. Oh, and I only unpaused it for a second when we discovered another ambush. Oh, That's a bit uglier. There are a few elves here. 5, as well as a whole bunch of animals. A couple of war leopards and bobcats, as well as a horse. This could get dicey. Well, I suppose we'll now have the warriors go down and kill all of them, and we're once again following this poor rough lover. Unpause. They are moving in, and there's another ambush. Oh my god, that's a bad one too. There's a whole bunch there. Ooh, that got really ugly. More grizzly bears. Oh man. A whole bunch more leopards, and camels too. Well, I don't think they're going to be as tough as goblins are, considering the fact that all of their armor is made out of wood. Their weapons too, but camels are pretty big creatures, not to mention the grizzly bears. Yeah, wow, this might get interesting. Alright, turning on the burrow, and we're going to update our commands once more. Alright, warriors, move in. Following this rough lover once more. Unpaused, and there's yet another ambush. More of the same stuff. 2 full pages now. Alright, I'm actually going to cancel these orders, and I'm just going to move the warriors up here, just inside our new walls. And now I'm really hoping the warriors listen to that command. Following this rough lover once more. They are fighting with a war horse who is panicking. There's a couple elves moving in, as well as a war bobcat. Another ambush. Great. Following the lover, who is still fighting. There's a grizzly bear now. They seem to be fighting fairly competently, even though they're vastly outnumbered. Oh, hey. Ooh, I really hate to interrupt this, but right in the heat of battle we got an interesting message. The fortress of Maze Monstrous far to the east has been conquered and incorporated into your holdings. Very cool. I guess the warriors did it. But we have more important things to attend to. Following this rough lover once more. More elves have been spotted, and seeing as how that one warrior is holding out so well, I'm just going to send the other warriors down to attack the elves. We have to try to save this one warrior. Addiel's her name, still fighting, an enraged horse. More elves are moving in. Oh, she's taking hits now though. But she's hanging in there, in a martial trance. One of the grizzly bears she's fighting is enraged. Oh, and she's taking some big hits right now. Unconscious, and she just died. Damn it. Oh, but if we look over here... Oh my lord, it's Einod. Here she comes. To face the whole siege by herself? Well, let's just hope for the best here. At least she has a weapon. And a bunch of armor too. More elves are spotted. Really hoping some more dwarves get in here. Einod is currently in a martial trance. And there's another dwarf moving in. Einod is on the ground right now. I believe overexerted. Oh, and she's killed a couple of elves. Now taking on 2 grizzly bears. She's killed 1, as well as a war bobcat. And she's working on a 3rd, a panicking war grizzly, who's trying desperately to get away from her. But she killed it. Very good. Taking out a horse. There are a couple more dwarves down to the south now, fighting the rest of the elven army. And they seem to be doing alright, although one of them's unconscious. Einod seems to be doing fairly well right now. Gonna watch those southern dwarves. Well, actually, it would seem that the rest of the elven army has fled. They didn't really stand much of a chance at all after other dwarves got here. Fantastic news, really. And there's only a couple of invaders left. That was surprisingly quick. Well, good fighting, dwarves. That was actually pretty amazing. Those elves are even wimpier than I imagined. Granted, we did have at least one dwarf die in that fighting. And down here we have another one who's severely wounded. Oh, and they died. Damn it. That was one of the Silver Kings. Dusum was his name. A legendary spear dwarf. Peace be with you, brother. Well, anyways, now that that minor threat is dealt with, let's have a look here at the world map. Over to the east, where we can see the dark dwarven fortress of Maze Monstrous. Ho ho! Very cool. With a population of about 200. What the hell does that mean? Well, it looks like those dwarves called their new government the Pick of Generals. And there are some artifacts there, including that bow that we had gifted to Akmal, that one of the other Griffins of Steel is now using, as well as a couple of named armor pieces. Not real artifacts, mind you. Now, what can we do with this? Well, down here we see holdings and tribute, and if we click that, well, I guess this screen here just allows us to see what places are held by who. Pretty neat. Or we can request workers. Oh, okay. Now, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here exactly. And, well, you know, I guess I'm not too sure what's going on here. Alright, well, it looks like some of these dwarves here are the ones that we had sent to conquer the place. But some of the other ones are also, I guess, just random dwarves, who must have heard about the conquering of this fortress and decided to move here. Interesting. New migrants or something. And it looks like through this menu, we can actually request for them to come and live at our fortress instead. That's very interesting. Maybe we should do that. It might be nice to get some new faces in the fortress. Yeah, what the hell? I picked 40 dwarves. Just kind of a random mix. I figure we'll leave all the warriors there for now, as well as some workers. And now it looks like we have the option to assign messengers. Well, we don't have any in the fortress right now, so let's figure out how to get one. Down in the location menu, at the bottom we have messenger, and we can assign occupation. Pretty cool. Not exactly straightforward, but whatever. Just pick any old dwarf. How about this guy right here, Rakust, a fairly new migrant. Sounds good. Now I imagine they'll be heading out to Maze Monstrous, and they are walking away from the fortress. It still says they have no job though, but it looks like that must have done the trick. Very cool. And now I suppose we'll wait, really hoping this works. And now back down to the fortress. Man, I'll tell ya, things are not looking great for Ushangvagush. Oh, actually the messenger seems to have returned already. The messenger and others. Let's have a look. Alright, we have a bunch of dwarves here, led by the messenger. This must be all those dwarves we requested. That is pretty damn exciting. You know, this is exactly what Ushangvagush needs. Some new blood. Yes, I have a feeling that things are going to start turning around. Although it's probably not the best that the new dwarves have to walk through this stink cloud here. A stink cloud generated by this dead dwarf corpse. And please don't mind the corpse pile. It's just something you'll get used to, no worries. You kinda gotta trust me. Ooh, and actually we have a warrior doling out some punishment over here. And they may have just knocked this dwarf unconscious. It's all just a necessary part of life. No worries. I'm telling you, you'll get used to it. Just busy yourself with work on the walls. There's still a lot to do, and in my opinion, if you're working, then you're not complaining. Right. You know, actually, it's been kinda difficult to get work done on these walls. I mean, we are still cleaning up after this goblin siege. All this clothing and these body parts here. And then there's all this garbage that the elves left here. So much of that. And on top of all that, we still have some other projects too. Like I had started building a second wall out here, farther away from our main wall, just to give us a wider area in which to build stuff. We actually don't have that much space inside the walls to build temples, so I figured if we extended the walls a bit, with a second shorter wall, then we'd have a bunch more space to build stuff. Distressing. Well, it looks like the outpost liaison's here, and has just gotten through meeting with our Baroness, and they were kind enough to share some rumors with us. In fact, if we have a look over here, this means an army has marched on Maze Monstrous. And so if we have a look here, it looks like sometime mid-autumn, the army of Thram Bristle Control marched on Maze Monstrous. Thram Bristle Control, huh? That's the name of the secretive, dark presence that is said to lead the Frosty Barbarity. Well, it would seem that they're not too happy about us taking one of their fortresses. And although the dwarves were able to fight them off, it looks like some refugees left Maze Monstrous. Not any of our warriors, I'm hoping. And on top of that, it looks like the elves have been giving Maze Monstrous some trouble too. Bunch of rat bastards. What to do? We're gonna have to put some serious thought into that. Oh, but hold up a second. Another interesting message. The Hillocks of Seal Laborers has been founded nearly a day's travel to the north, and incorporated into your holdings. Very cool. I wonder if that's the dwarves that ran away from Maze Monstrous. Started their own Hillocks. Incredibly interesting. And looking at the map, yeah, here it is. Just up to the north, right on the coast. Yeah, it says there's about 40 dwarves here, led by the Virginal Papers, the site government, a creative name, and it says the Artifact Acted Monk is there as well, which is one that was held by a dwarf who was at Maze Monstrous. Although concerningly, that artifact was held by a warrior. Well, as much as I would love to give aid to these places, I'm not sure there's much we could do, because Monsterkiller is currently facing dire straits. This is a seriously bad time we're having. Let the year 264 be known as the year of tears and blood, and one of our most harrowing yet. I'm just still really hoping things turn around eventually, although I'm not too sure what we could do about it. Things are just sliding out of control at this point, but we just have to keep going. We have to try. Well, anyways, you bearded bastards, as always, I thank you so much for watching, and I do really hope to see you next time, here in Ushangvagush, Monsterkiller. And until then, you bearded bastards.